So I'm Olivia. I'm actually 32 years old now. I was born back in Kentucky in 1991 from surrogacy. My parents never really told me that I was born through a surrogate, but I always knew inside of me that something was off, that some things were just not right. And when I was about 17 years old, I started making research on Google on the city that I was born in, so Louisville, Kentucky, exactly, um, because I really needed answers at that point to my questions, which are fundamental questions. I mean, where do I come from? Who am I like? What are my genes? And when I was doing the research, I just fell upon surrogates. I fell upon surrogacy agencies, and in my head, the puzzle like finally clicked. So from then on, I kind of knew that that was how it was born. I told everyone. I told my friends, I told my doctors, I told my husband, I told my in-laws, but I never confronted my parents because there was a conflict of loyalty and I was scared of their reaction. So my mother-in-law, who's my husband's mother, she saw me suffer greatly. So I've been with my husband for 10 years now, and not knowing where I came from or what half of my blood came from really caused me a lot of mental difficulties like depression. So she saw me suffer, and then she decided to offer me a DNA kit test on my 30th birthday. So this was 2 years ago. And yeah, so this DNA test would eventually show my ethnic background, which shows that I'm largely Lithuanian and Norwegian and not French at all because my intended mother is French. I have to say it. But it also matched me to a cousin that I have on my biological mother's side. And then so she connected me to my half brother, and then to my half sisters, and then to my biological mother, who in my case was my surrogate. And so today I support I'm going to start that over again. I support the abolition of surrogacy worldwide today for many reasons, but mainly because surrogacy goes against the rights of children and women. A lot of money is made on the backs of these women, these children, and we're letting human trafficking in many countries as if it were normal, just to satisfy couples' desires to have children. Nothing justifies the use of surrogacy, not infertility, not homosexuality, not I don't know, not wanting to use our bodies to have children. You know, there's a lot of reasons why people use surrogacy, and there is no right reason to use surrogacy. Surrogacy, unfortunately, is a market of women children that has become global, and we have to put an end to it to protect these women and children. I want to start by saying that adoption and surrogacy are not the same things at all. We're not talking about the same thing. In adoption, we try to repair a child's broken life conditions, whereas in surrogacy, we purposely create a situation, we make a child to give it to another family. So they're two different complete situations. So in adoption, we try to repair because it's not always the case. And in surrogacy, we purposely create a child to have it abandoned, and thus making him or her feel that primal wound that I personally felt, just like adoptees feel, actually. I'm going to try, and this is kind of like an example that I give to some people so people understand. Take a person that's lost an arm during an accident or an illness or whatever, and we're going to give him a prosthetic arm to make his life better. Unfortunately, that prosthetic arm will never ever replace his original arm. It will never feel the same, but at least it'll try and make his life easier. However, we're never going to purposely cut off the arm of a human being to put a prosthetic arm on him, to test that prosthetic arm, and then be happy about it and congratulate ourselves because it worked. And that's kind of the same thing in surrogacy and adoption. In one case, so in adoption, we try and repair a broken situation. We attempt to, because it's not always the case. Some adoptees feel as if they have been they've been bought and sold as well, but that's another whole topic to be talked about. And in the second case, we purposely cut the arm off of a person and we put a prosthetic arm. So that's kind of like surrogacy, where we purposely create a child for him to be abandoned. So the example is a bit harsh, maybe, but I guess that kind of helps people understand where I'm getting at. I've talked to a lot of adoptees, and we've all come to the conclusion that international adoption, of course, needs to be rethought, reformed once again, because we often forget in adoption the child's point of view, his situation, that has to be put before the desires of adults and the desires of adults to have children. In very many cases in adoption, unfortunately, children are taken away from their mothers because the mother lacked the finances to take care of the children. So we should be looking more how we can help these mothers before thinking of taking their child away from them, because these children, these adopted children, they're going to crave their mothers all of their lives. So I this is why I don't believe that adopted children have a better situation than people born from surrogacy. I believe in both cases we are taken away from our parents, especially our mothers, and unfortunately this is going to create a void that we can never fill. That's my response to it. I was extremely happy that Pope Francis talked about surrogacy, about his recent comments about surrogacy. I personally don't have faith. I said it in my letter to him. I'm an atheist. There are a lot of things that I share with the Catholic Church as an atheist, but there are also things that I disagree with, of course. However, even if I don't believe in God, I do believe that the Pope's word goes beyond faith. Beyond anything, really. Proof is that his speech went completely viral around the world. So his voice is really the voice of morality, that a lot of people listen to, even people that don't have faith. It's kind of the conscience of the common good. I wrote to him a couple weeks ago, and I asked him humbly to take a stance publicly against surrogacy, because we know that the Catholic Church is against it, and he did. And he made it loud and very clear that surrogacy, as we all know, the Catholic Church is against it. And he made it clear that surrogacy should just be banned, should be abolished worldwide. And I've been working with the spokesperson of the Casablanca Declaration. We have been working hard to create an international convention for the abolition of surrogacy. And we hold the exact same stance as Pope Francis, that surrogacy should be abolished worldwide. The Casablanca Declaration will be holding a convention, an international convention in Rome on the 5th and 6th of April 2024. And we aim for two things. One, to inform the public decision makers about harmful effects of surrogacy, of course. And two, we're going to try and provide a legal toolbox for states wishing to abolish surrogacy in their countries. So the International Convention aims for the elaboration of an international treaty, and thus helping to build a surrogacy-free world for future generations. And I'm going to say that I hope that I will be meeting Pope Francis during my time in Rome. It's really important to me, even as an atheist. Like I said, his word is so important. He is such an important person in this world. And I think a lot of people listen to him, and a lot of decision makers listen to him as well. We have to remember, separates a child from his mother at birth. And we give that child to complete strangers. That baby who is growing inside the womb of his mother, he smells her, he listens to her, he listens to her voice, he craves her, he wants her. When he's going to go out in that cold world, in that austere world where, you know, the hospital lights or whatever, he's going to want her, not a group of strangers that he doesn't know. Actually, he has no clue who they are. He needs his skin to skin, he needs her milk. And in surrogacy, we rip that away from the child. That is not in the best interest of the child. And we need to start thinking about the child in surrogacy, not adults' desires to have children. Secondly, we ignore also in surrogacy the fact that children have the right to know where they come from. Surrogate children, very often, they don't know who birthed them, who carried them, what their genes are. Take a look at me. I had no idea where I came from. And because of a DNA test, now I know, or else I would have never known. And this, once again, is not in the best interest of the child. So we do not have a right to children. We do not have a right to have children. However, children have rights. And I want to remember, I want people to think that what I want to know is that I want to remind people that children have rights. So we have to go back to the Article 7 of the UN Convention of Rights of Children. And this Article 7, states that children have the right to know and be cared by his or her parents. So yeah, that's what I really wanted to say, is that I wanted to emphasize the fact that children have rights, but there is no right to having a child. And in every case of surrogacy, whether it's traditional or gestational surrogacy, we do not think about the child. We only think about the desires of adults to have children. So I know there's a lot of money involved in surrogacy: lawyers, doctors, IVF clinics, agencies, pharmaceutical companies. I know this battle is going to be long. I know it's going to be complicated. The market is global. There's a global market of surrogacy. There's a lot of money involved, but this is worth it. We need to protect children. We need to protect women, and we cannot let countries, agencies, sell children and rent out women. It's not possible. We cannot commodify children and women. And that Pope Francis said it clearly, that children are sacred and we must protect them as much as possible.